Casey, in the beginning we have the headlines. Prime Minister of the House says Nepal anticipates to be a net exporter of electricity by 2025, but attributes accelerated pace of development of hydropower projects for it. Government prepares to import 500,000 metric tons of chemical fertilizers for upcoming fiscal year, decides to allocate a timely budget to secure the stock. UN says more than 180 people killed in Sudan fighting at warring sides don't appear to want peace. Mediation as strong clashes continue. And host Nepal playing against Malaysia in the first match of the ACC Premier Cup. Hong Kong taking on Singapore in the other match. Welcome back. You are with NTV English News Bulletin. Now we have the news in details. Prime Minister Pushpakamal Dahal had said Nepal anticipates to be a net exporter of electricity by 2025 without any need to import even in the dry season due to accelerated pace of development of hydropower projects both from IPPs and state utilities. Speaking in the inaugural session of Power Summit 2020-23, Prime Minister Dahal said Nepal has been at the forefront in its efforts to conserve rich biodiversity heritage and is a signatory to all treaties related to the global response to climate change. He added Nepal aims to attain the goal of becoming net zero by 2045. The two-day summit organized by Independent Power Producers Association Nepal kicked off in Kathmandu from today with the slogan of broadening green energy markets.
LPG. The fourth and most critical area is transportation. The import of vehicles may continue, but we can make a transition to electric modes of transport so that our import of fossil fuels declines, and this contributes to mitigate the average adverse impacts of climate change.
The Power Summit will have 13 sessions covering issues relating to markets for Nepal's power, demand for Nepal's hydropower, transmission infrastructure, thinking beyond hydropower to solar, technology and innovation, regulatory framework, hydrogen, cross-border power trade, among the others. The organizers said a memorandum of understanding will also be signed for direct electricity purchase between Nepal's hydropower projects and Indian buyers in the summit. Nepali Congress is all set to participate in Karnali provincial government after it reached an agreement with the CPN Mao Center to run the government on a rotational basis. Following the vacant seats of 3 ministries after 3 MPs of CPNU-ML's resignations, Nepali Congress is joining in Karnali provincial government. The Mao Center has lobbied for the participation of the Congress in the government by agreeing to give vacant ministries to the latter party. With the decision of entering Congress in provincial government, it has been decided to separate the Ministry of Water Resources and Energy Development and the Ministry of Physical Infrastructure and Urban Development. These ministries were earlier merged into one during the earlier coalition government of the UML Mao Center. Government has prepared to import 500,000 metric tons of chemical fertilizers for the upcoming fiscal year. Acting Managing Director of Krishi Samagri Company Limited, Brishnu Prasad Pokhrel, said a decision has been made between the concerned stakeholders to allocate a timely budget in order to secure the much-needed farming manure. Pokhrel said reason for the shortage of fertilizer in the market is due delay in budget allocation. To meet the demand of fertilizers, budget should be allocated by the end of previous year. As per the fertilizer distribution guidelines, Limited has been selling and distributing fertilizers to the local levels through 5,300 cooperatives. With this update, time to go for a short break again, but still to come we have. Welcome back. You are with NTV English News Bulletin. Now to more updates. A bilateral meeting has been held between the security agencies of China and Nepal over border security and resumption of Tatopani customs. Information officer at District Police Office in Nepal, Deputy Superintendent Ram Kumar Yadav informed it has been agreed to resume the border point along Nepal-China from May the 1st. Yadav added that two sides also discussed border management, crime control, border security and other contemporary issues in the meeting. The Nepal Calendar Determination Committee has said the solar eclipse slated to occur on April the 20th, that is coming Thursday, will not be witnessed from Nepal. Chairman of Committee Professor Sri Krishna Adhikari said, as the celestial event taking place on the day of Baisak Krishna Oshi will not be visible from Nepal, no religious prohibitions are required to be followed and there will be no such effects of eclipse as well. Adhikari said that all three upcoming solar eclipses of April 20 and October 14 and of April 8 next year will not be seen from Nepal, hence there is no need to observe all three eclipses. The Thursday solar eclipse can be witnessed from China, Mongolia and other nations. To international update, at least 185 people have been killed and another 1,800 injured in 3 days of fighting between rival factions in Sudan, according to United Nations Special Representative for Sudan. The sudden outbreak of violence over the weekend between the two nations' top two generals, each backed by tens of thousands of heavily armed fighters, trapped millions of people in their homes or wherever they could find shelter, with supplies running low in many areas. The power struggle pits General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, the commander of the armed forces, against General Muhammad Hamdan Dagalo, the head of Rapid Support Forces, a paramilitary group. The former allies jointly orchestrated an October 2021 military coup. More updates line up on the other side, but before that, let's have the highlights first. Welcome back. You are with NTV English News Bulletin. Now to more updates. G7 foreign ministers on Tuesday demanded that North Korea refrain from further nuclear tests and ballistic missile launches, warning of a robust response after talks in Japan. The warning came days after Pyongyang said it had successfully tested a solid-fuel intercontinental ballistic missile, hailing it as a breakthrough for the country's nuclear counterattack capabilities. Last week's launch was the latest in a string of banned weapons tests conducted by North Korea, which has already fired several of its most powerful ICBMs this year. Italian police have seized around 2 tons of cocaine that was found floating off the coast of Sicily in one of the country's largest ever finds of illegal drugs. Some 70 waterproof packages were found held together by fishing nets and equipped with a tracking device. Police put the whole's street value at more than $440 million. Officials believe the drugs were dumped at sea by a cargo ship in order to be retrieved later. More updates line up on the other side, but before that, let's have the highlights first. Now to sports. Host Nepal is playing against Malaysia in the Asian Cricket Council ACC Premier Cup that has kicked off from today in Kathmandu. In the match underway at TU Cricket Ground in Kirtipur, Malaysia has so far scored 209 runs and loss of 5 wickets in 46 overs. The Malaysian side opted to bat first after winning the toss. Nepal is undefeated in the last 5 meetings between Nepal and Malaysia. In the second match of the day, being held at the Mulpani Cricket Ground, Hong Kong is playing against Singapore. Hong Kong, winning the toss, chose to bowl first. Singapore has so far scored 174 runs in loss of 9 wickets in 42 overs. The final match of the 24-match tournament will be held on May the 1st at 2 Cricket Ground. 10 parties are participating in the competition into 2 groups, where Group A consists of host Nepal, Malaysia, Saudi Arabia, Qatar and Oman. Similarly, Group B includes Bahrain, Kuwait, Singapore, Hong Kong and the UAE. Mohammad Shalaha and Diogo Jota both scored twice as Liverpool claimed a first league win in 5 games by inflicting a second successive home hammering on Leeds United, who remain mired deep into relegation battle. The Reds had not won since putting 7 unanswered goals past Manchester United at the start of March, but after a slow start they ruthlessly dismantled Javi Gracia's hapless side. Leeds were given hope after the break when Luis Sinisterra possessed the ponderous Ibrahima Konate and cleverly chipped the ball behind Alisson. With this update, we come to the end of this English News Bulletin, but before we say goodbye, let's have a quick reminder of the major stories. PM Dahalan says Nepal anticipates to be a net exporter of electricity by 2025, attributes accelerated pace of development of hydropower projects for it. Government prepares to import 500,000 metric tons of chemical fertilizers for upcoming fiscal year, decides to allocate tiny budget to secure the stock. UN says more than 180 killed in Sudan fighting at warring sites don't appear to want peace mediation as strong clashes continue. And host Nepal playing against Malaysia in the first match of the ACC Premier Cup. Hong Kong taking on Singapore in other match of the day. That's all we have in this edition of English News Bulletin. We'll see you again with next round of English Bulletin at 6 in the evening. Till then, have a great time ahead and do stay tuned with us. Namaste.